So I was covering the Ange Postecoglou situation for a good few months there, and I still am kind of covering it. I'm certainly still following it, but in my last video I said I'm going to cool off on this because at that point I think they just beat Ipswich 4-1, and I'm sure they beat Man U before that or after it. Either way, they were in a decent run of form, and it wasn't really getting spoke about that Ange would get sacked. Not as much as it normally was, or previously was. Anyway, long story short, it's been spoke about again because of results recently, and I guess how they're losing games. Anyway, I'm not going to go into a big spiel about it, but I'm just going to say I cooled off on it because, like I said, I'm repeating myself, but it wasn't getting spoke about because we're doing half decent. The general consensus, I'm going to cut out all the bullshit, the general consensus is that you'll get till the end of the season, see how they do in the Europa League, and take it for there. There's still some fans that say if he wins the Europa League with Tottenham, they still want him away, so it might not be enough. If I'm being honest, I'm going to not backtrack because the information I've got now on Ange to what I did then is different. I know more about the man as a manager, and I know more about his ability, I guess. I'll be honest, I'm starting to think Ange maybe isn't at the top level. For some things, for his style of play and his attacking mentality, I think he's elite, but his in-game management and even his man management to an extent I don't really rate. He's flinging some players under the bus. He was big on, when Tottenham weren't doing so well before, he was big on saying, well, look at all the injuries we've got, and very much blaming the injuries, if I'm honest. He can't do that recently because they don't have injuries, so I've been a bit disappointed with him in that sense. Not disappointed like I'm talking about a younger brother or something. The man's a lot older than me, but disappointed in the sense that I didn't think he was like that, and I admired a lot of things about him, but I can't help but think less of the man, for that reason. What I mean by that is flinging players under the bus, blaming injuries when the same problems are happening now that there is no injuries. So it just looks like he was making excuses. But nevertheless, I feel like that's what's going to happen. I'm interested. I really don't know what Tottenham will do, and that's what I find so interesting, because in most cases, Ange wouldn't even be here for as long as he's been here. He would have been sacked a long time ago. So it's unprecedented almost that he's getting this much time. And certainly the latest incident with him and the fans, for me, is an all-time low. Is the fans were singing during the Chelsea game, "You don't know what you're doing," and obviously aimed at Ange Postecoglou, but the substitutions he made. Then one of the substitutions he did make scored. So he looked at the fans, his own fans, remember, cupped his ear and then started waving. I think we all know what he was implying there. He was implying that, by the wave anyway, I'm acknowledging you, I acknowledge the chant, and what you got to say about it now. Because, of course, the substitution they made scored. Well, he got disallowed, so he looked like an idiot after it. But to be honest, he even looked like an idiot doing it. I don't like saying that about people, especially, I think he's a good man at heart. But how he's been recently, I've lost all that respect for him. But listen, not that he'll care what I say. The man's a multi-millionaire, who am I? But I'm allowed my opinion. That is my opinion. And I just wanted to comment my latest situation on Ange's situation. So let's just give it time. I think the Europa League will be interesting how they get on. Certainly it can't get much worse in the league for them, but time will tell. It's really just a waiting game.